Good morning, students. Today we are discussing about understanding child rights from the perspective of affected people. Understanding child rights from the perspective of affected people. The CRC is based on four core principles. The principles of non discrimination, the best interest of the child. The best interest of the child, okay. The right to life, survival and development, and considering the views of the child in decision that affect them according to their age and maturity. The right to life, survival and development, and considering the views of the child in decision that affect them according to their age and maturity, okay. First, children need special attention. Children need special attention. Children are more vulnerable than adults to the conditions under which they live. Children are more vulnerable than adults to the conditions under which they live. Hence, they are more affected than any other age group by the action and inaction of governments and society. Action and inaction, governments and society. In most societies, including ours, views persist that children are the parents' property, or are adult in the making, or are not yet ready to contribute to society. Ready to contribute the society. Children are not seen as possible who have a mind of their own, a view to express, the capacity to make a choice, and an ability to decide. Instead of being guided by adult, their life is decided by adult. Children have no votes or political influence and little economic power. Too often, their voices are not heard. Children are particularly vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. Child rights from the perspective of affected people. All people under the age of 18 are entitled to the standards and rights guaranteed by the laws that govern our country and the international legal instruments we have accepted by ratifying them. The Constitution of India guarantees all children certain rights which have been specially included from them. These include right to free and compulsory elementary education for all children in the 6 to 14 year age group, right to be protected from any hazardous employment till the age of 14 years, right to be protected from being abused and forced by economic necessity to enter occupation unsuited to their age or strength, right to equal opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom and dignity and guarantee protection of childhood, any youth against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment. Besides these, they also have rights as equal citizen of India just as any other adult, male or female. Right to equality, right against discrimination, right to personal liberty and due process of law, right to being protected from being trafficked and forced into bonded labor, right of weaker section of the people to be protected from social justice and all form of exploitation. The state must make special preventions for women and children, protect interest of minorities, promote educational interest of weaker section of the people. raise the level of nutrition and standard of living of its people, and the improvement of public health. Besides the Constitution, there are several laws that specifically apply to children. As responsible teachers and citizens, it is advisable that you are aware of them and their significance. These have been described in different sections of this booklet along with the issues they deal with. As a teacher, second mothers, we have to understand the child rights first the foremost, and we have to have awareness and protection in this challenging world. Importance and need to the rights of children. There are many reasons for singling out children's rights in a separate human rights convention. Children are individual. Children are neither the possessions of parents nor of the state, nor are they mere people in the making. They have equal status as members of the human family. First one, children start life as totally dependent beings. Children must rely on adults for the nature and guidance they need to grow towards independence. Such nurture is ideally found in adults in children families, but when primary adult caregivers cannot meet children's needs, it is up to the state as the primary duty bearer to find an alternative in the best interest of the child. Second one, the action or inaction of government impact children more strongly than any other group in society. Practically every area of government policy, from education to public health, affects children to some degree. Short-sighted policy making that fails to take children into account has a negative impact on the future of all members of society. Third one, children's views should be heard and considered in the political process. Children generally do not vote and do not traditionally take part in political processes. Without special attention to the opinions of children, as expressed at home and in schools, in local communities, and even in governments, children's views go unheard, and the many important issues that affect them now or will affect them in the future. Many changes in society are having a disproportionate and often negative impact on children. Transformation of the family structure, globalization, climate change, digitalization, mass migration, shifting employment patterns, and shrinking social welfare net in many countries all have strong impact on children. The impact of these changes can be particularly devastating in situations of armed conflict and other emergencies. Fifth one, the healthy development of children is crucial to the future well-being of any society. Because they are still developing, children are especially vulnerable, more so than adults, to poor living conditions such as poverty, inadequate health care, nutrition, safe water, housing, and environmental pollution. The effect of disease, malnutrition, and poverty threaten the futures of children and therefore the future of the societies in which they live. Sixth on the cost to society of falling its children are huge. Social research findings show that children earliest experience significantly influence their future development. The course of their development determines their contribution or cost to society over the course of their lives. In India, a child has the right to be protected from neglect, exploitation, and abuse at home and elsewhere. Children have the right to be protected from the incidents of abuse, exploitation, violence, neglect, commercial sexual exploitation, child labor, and harmful traditional practice, to name a few. The another heading, United Nations Conventions on the Right to the Child. In 1957, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Declaration on the Rights of the Child. The DRC describes children's rights in 10 principles. However, this document was not signed by all the countries. Therefore, these 10 principles only provided an indicative value. The DRC paved the way to the Universal Declaration of Children's Rights, which is popularly known as the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The UNCRC was unanimously adopted by the UN General Assembly on 20th November 1987. This became the first internationally binding instrument which recognized all the fundamental rights of the child. The UNCRC gave legal expression to the notion that children have independent human rights and that those rights should be at the heart of all political, economic, and social decision making. Its 54th article describes the economic, social, and cultural rights of the children. It enshrines the general principle of non discrimination, best interest of the child. Right to life, survival, and development, and respect for the dues of the child. It then elaborates the specific rights of civil rights and freedoms, family environment and alternative care, basic health and welfare education, leisure and culture activities, and special protection measures. India ratified the UNCRC in December 1992. Therefore, the Government of India is obligated to implement the rights contained in the UNCRC. The International Charter of Child Rights has been signed at 91 countries out of 93, thus giving it wide acceptance and recognition. Only two nations, Somalia and the United States of America, did not ratify the UNCRC, an internationally recognized government, so ratification is impossible, and the United States, which was one of the original signatories of the convention, has failed to ratify the treaty because of concerns about its potential impact on national sovereignty and the parent-child relationship. It has been described as nothing short of the cornerstone of a new moral ethos for children and an instrument stressing that respect for and protection of children's rights is the starting point for the full development of the individual potential in an atmosphere of freedom, dignity, and justice. Dignity and justice. Okay. The Government of India submitted its first country report on the Convention of the Rights of the Child in February 1997. Issues in child rights. Although India is today beyond the trajectory of economic growth, and there have been several initiatives by the government for a reduction of poverty. A significant portion of the population continues to live in poverty. Economic inequalities are rampant and children are most affected. Eight important rights in the context of children are the following. First one, right to life. Second one, right to health. Third one, right to safe water. Fourth one, right to food. Fifth one, right to education. Sixth one, right to protection. Seventh one, right to freedom, and eighth one, right to identity. Once more you repeated. The eight important rights in the context of children are the following. First one, right to life, right to health, right to safe water, right to food, right to education, right to protection, right to freedom, and right to identify. First one, right to life. According to Vital Statistics data for 2012, the infant mortality rate varies from 10 to 56 in the different states in India. In rural India, IMR has declined by 13%, while the decline is by 28% in urban India since 2003. A report by CRY puts the IMR at 7. The IMR is a count of death of infants under 1 year of age per 100 live births in a year. It is considered a key indicator of health services, nutritional levels, poverty, and educational level of the people. Reduction in IMR is one of the Millennium Development Goals set by the United Nations with a deadline of 2015. The decline in IMR is one positive development in the context of the right to life. According to the Global Hunger Index report, which was released in 14 October 2013, the mortality rate of children younger than age 5 in India is about 60%. Burma 2013. Poverty coupled with the cultural preference for male children have been mainly responsible for the death of thousands of children in India every year. The practice of female infanticide, deliberate negligence leading to the death of the child, and general neglect of children continue to result in large-scale death of girls, which have even adversely affected the sex ratio. India child sex ratio continues to plummet. Census data for 2011 has revealed that child sex ratio in the 0 to 6 age group has further declined to 1914 girls for every 100 boys as compared to 1927 in 2001. The Government of India enacted the Pre-Conception and Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act 1994 with a view to put an end to the practice of female feticide and to check the decline in CSR. The 2011 census data further revealed that the socially backward groups, namely scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, are ahead of the rest in CSR. CSR among STs at 1957, SCs at 19933, and general population excluding these two categories at 910. This trend suggested that backwardness may actually work in favor of gender justice, presumably as backwardness denied access to sex determination techniques. Second one, right to good health. It is a prerequisite to the right to life. A large number of children die each year in India. Lack of appropriate health care, lack of immunization, preventable diseases, unsafe drinking water, and absence of sanitation, death of regular monitoring of pregnancy, unsafe deliveries, and malnutrition are mainly responsible for most such deaths. According to a CRY report, only 54% children received full immunization. According to the National Family Health Survey, India accounts for one third of the world's children who suffer malnutrition. Coming to mental health, World Health Organization has indicated that 50% of children in India have serious emotional disturbance. Yet another issue in the context of child health is child marriage. Child marriage is a reality in India. All children have a right to care and protection, to develop and grow into a complete and full individual, regardless of their social and economic situation. Child marriage is a blatant violation of all these rights. It is widely believed that as many as 50% of the Indian women are married before the age of 18. It is observed that child marriages are more prevalent among rural and poor sections of the population. In some parts of the country, it is culture and tradition that are largely responsible for this practice. Lack of parental interest in educating their girl children and the eagerness of parents to send their girl children away to minimize the financial burden are other factors responsible for the problem. A UNICEF stock-taking report on children and AIDS says that AIDS-related deaths among adolescents between ages 10 and 19 increased by 50% between 2005 and 2012, rising from 71,000 to 110,000, and that many of them were unaware that they were infected. Okay. An estimated 74% of the 2.1 million adolescents live in 12 high burden countries in 2012. India is among these high burden countries. Other countries include South Africa, Nigeria, and Tanzania. The total infected adolescent population in South Asia in 1030, with 51% boys and 49% girls. It says that investment to the tune of 5.5 billion by next year will be required to avoid an added 2 million adolescents, particularly gives girls becoming infected by 2020. Third one, right to safe water. Yet another precondition to the right to life is the right to safe water. Access to clean water is a major issue in India. Large portion of India's human population is deprived of safe drinking water. In rural areas, access to potable water remains a considerable problem. 20% of the rural population does not always have access to potable water. Because of this, it is the children living in these areas who are most exposed to various health problems linked to water, as in the absence of adequate availability of water. Children are not able to maintain minimum standards of hygiene due to insanitary condition and the absence of potable water. Water-borne diseases are widely prevalent. Cases disappear and death. Children are the worst sufferers of the adversity. Fourth one, right to food. It is a right to not die of hunger and to not suffer from malnutrition. Although India has been producing surplus food, a significant section of the population, including children, remains undernourished. Okay. According to the Global Hunger Index report, about a quarter of the world hungry, or 2010 million, is in India. India constitutes in the alarming category of countries classified by severity of hunger. The GHS is calculated on three indicators, namely the proportion of people who are undernourished, the proportion of children under 5 who are underweight, and the mortality rate of children younger than age 5. The report says that the proportion of underweight children is about 40%. According to the National Sample Survey Organization, the nutritive value of food consumed per person in dipping. It declined from 2,153 kilocalories per person per day in 1993-94, 2020 kilocalories in 2009, 10 in rural areas, and from 2071 to 1946 kilocalories in urban areas. While children from wealthy section face overeating problems, children from poorer sections suffer from malnourishment. Poverty and lack of awareness about balanced diet are the main reason for the situation. Subsidized food grains and pulses are being provided by the government to the economically weaker segments, besides with a special focus on supplementing children's nutrition. That are two major governmental initiatives in India, namely the Midday Meal Scheme and the Integrated Child Development Services Scheme. All state governments in India have introduced midday meal scheme in schools with a view to ensure children at least one full meal a day. Under the ICDS scheme, children in the 0 to 6 age group are provided with a supplementary nutritional diet. However, the Union Human Resources Development Ministry in a joint review mission and MMS in Buldana district in Maharashtra found that 54.5% boys and 66.7% girls were underweight in spite of them being beneficiaries of MMS. According to another report, every second Indian child 6 to 35 months in malnourished. The report quoting CRY further says that 79% of Indian children are anemic. Fifth one, right to education. According to the 2011 census data, as many as 26% of the Indian population are illiterate. This accounts for the largest number of illiterate people in the world. Absence of parental literacy results in neglect of children's education. Gender-based and caste-based discrimination also are factors causing marginalization of children in the educational systems. Girls are consistently denied equal opportunities to attend and complete primary schooling. As a result, primary education is far from universal. That many children are not enrolled in schools and that many drop out before completion of their education are matters of great concern. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, which came into force with effect from 1st April 2010, is an important milestone towards ensuring the educational rights of children. The newly introduced act is expected to improve the situation. However, a report by CRB says that the national dropout rate at the elementary level is 40% despite enhancement of the RT Act. Now we all discuss various schemes which were started by the government to make elementary education accessible to all children. Okay students, thank you. We continue in another class.